Okay, so if everybody makes sure that they've got my main drawing screen as their main screen, so they can see what's happening. And also I can actually see everybody through their video, so just make sure that everybody in your room knows that you've got the video running so that they don't do anything silly in the backgrounds. All right, so has everybody got a nice picture all ready to print out and draw on? I took a fresh one this morning, so I might use this one. Okay, so what you're going to need to do is grab your ruler out. Okay, and grab your lead pencil. And then what we have to do is we need to put a grid over the top of our drawing. Okay, I'm just gonna cool. Okay, all right, so get your ruler out over the top of the image that you want to draw, and line it up nice and straight on the edge. And then what I want you to do is I want you to mark out every centimetre or 10 millimetres. So it's going to be quite a small grid. And the reason we're doing a small grid is because this is quite a detailed picture. Okay, so when you've marked that out, turn your page around. Then because you lined up on this side with an exact number, make sure you line it up again with a 10. And then we mark it out. 10, 10, 10. Missed one. Okay, so now that we've got them all lined, sorted, then line your ruler up with each mark at each end and draw yourself a line. Okay, and then keep doing that all the way. And it helps if you've got a nice sharp pencil. And be very, very careful that you get your lines pretty straight and pretty exact. So oh, I can't even see that one. Oh, there it is. I should have done it on the white bit. It takes quite a while, and there are ways to cheat. You can probably overlay a grid on the computer. Or one of the ways that I did it is, if you want to do lots of them, I actually drew up a grid on a plastic sheet, and then I just slipped the picture inside it. So if you want to do lots and lots, then that's one way that you can save yourself some time. You've still got to draw the grid, but you don't have to do it for every single picture that you want to do. So has everybody got their vertical lines all done? Okay, so when you've finished your vertical lines, then we need to do exactly the same again, but the other way. So along the side, line your ruler up and mark off 10 millimetre or 1 centimetre points. And make sure that your ruler is straight to the edge of the page. So otherwise you won't end up with nice squares, you'll end up with parallelograms or something just a bit weird. All right, and then turn it around. Make sure you start in exactly the same point again on the edge. And mark your lines off again. Now, this is one of those kind of drawing projects where it takes a long time to get it set up, but it's well worth it. This is how I learned how to draw all kinds of stuff. My first thing that I learned how to draw was actually Garfield. And I learned how to draw him this way. I used to get pictures of him out of the newspaper, put grids over him, and then learn how to draw him. All right, so once you've finished that, then we do exactly the same. Now, I'm probably going to go straight down to where the actual picture starts, because there's no point in having the grid up too high, because there's nothing there to draw. So you really only need the grid over the bit that you want to draw. So after a while of drawing Garfields and all kinds of cartoons out of the newspaper, I got the hang of drawing them where I didn't actually need the grid anymore. But it's a really, really good way to get started. And one of the hardest things to draw freehand is somebody's face. So that's why we're doing the face today. And the other hard things to draw is your puppy dog. So if you can do the same thing and you can draw a picture of your pet. Just take a nice photo and print it off. Put a grid over it. Okay, when you've got your grid finished, then I want you to number it. So number it every single square all the way down, and then letters across the top. Because there's so many grids, then it helps you keep track. So numbers down, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 12. Okay, and then letters across, and leave that corner one empty because you don't need that one. So A, C. Okay, cool. Now I've made a total mess of my face. I'm going to sharpen my pencil so that I've got a sharp edge again. Okay, now pop that aside and get your blank paper out. That's a bit grubby, isn't it? I'll grab a fresh piece. Okay, grab your blank piece out. Okay, now we're not going to do the whole grid this time. We're just going to do a small section of it, and I'm going to show you why you won't trace the image, because we're actually going to make the image twice as big as it currently is there. Okay, so get your piece of paper out, and we're going to do a grid again, exactly the same. This time I want you to, when you draw your lines, I want you to do them really, really lightly and softly so that you can rub them out again later on. So set your ruler up nice and straight, and then I want you to mark off every 2 centimeters. So 2, 4, 6, 8. I hope everybody knows they're 2 times tables. Okay, when you finish that side, then go to the other side. Make sure your ruler is nice and straight and you're on the same edge, and then mark it off in 2s. Then draw your lines, connect your lines up, and remember, nice and light and soft so that you can see them, and I'm using a very, very soft pencil. We want to be able to rub them out later on when we've finished our drawing, because we don't want everyone to see our secret of how we managed to do such a cool drawing. I actually did one of these drawings to do a mural on a wall. So I did a tiny little drawing on a piece of paper, and I did the grid, and then I marked the grid out on the wall and drew it out on the wall and then painted it. So, and you can't do that for tracing. All right, so we've got our horizontal ones. Let's go around and do the other side. Make sure nice and straight. Now remember, every two Okay, take note of exactly where your ruler is on the edge so that you can line them all up again. So I didn't do that very well. So what's that? 384. Line it up in exactly the same spot so that our lines will be straight, and then mark off in twos again. So I don't know whether you've actually seen sometimes they get the guys out to paint those great big silos in the wheat fields and that in the country. This is how they do it. So they draw the drawings very small on paper first and get it approved by the client, and then they put a grid over it, and then they put that grid on the silo. And they just draw one small section at a time because it's so big you can't actually see the whole drawing at once anyway. So it's not actually possible to be that close to it and know what you're drawing unless you just focus on one tiny little piece at a time. So it's not just about learning how to draw, it's also a way of doing really big murals. Now, like there was a way to cheat with the grid on the other one, there's not really a way to cheat with the grid on this one. You still have to draw it. Because if you printed it out, you wouldn't be able to rub it out later. I suppose you could do it on a light table and you could have a grid behind it if you wanted to. But working on a light table can be quite hard on your eyes too. We should do that next week, learn how to do make your own light table using a window. All right, so once we've got our grid sorted, okay, I'm going to turn it around so that it matches mine. Now I am going to, let's see, how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13. So work out how many you've got on your paper and where you go, what section you can do on your drawing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I should be able to go from E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 to Q. Okay, and what have I got? All right, so where we got up to, we need to work out which grid can match our grid that we're going to draw on. So for me, it's from E to Q. So I'll put the letters in, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. And then do the same down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So I should be able to, oh, I can go all the way down to there. All right, so mine will be from 1 to 18. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little wiggly line through the grids that I'm not going to draw, just so that I don't get confused when I'm starting to draw it. All right, so has everybody got their grid all set up and ready? And the problem with using a very soft pencil is it goes blunt very, very quickly. Okay, so we're going to pick a section on our photo, and everyone's photo is different. We're going to pick a section that is pretty easy to do. And like a jigsaw puzzle, you don't have to do it all in order or all at the same time. So for me, I'm going to do this little piece here, and you can actually draw on your image so that you can see the edge. So that is, for me, 10G. So if I go G10, and it's a straight line right in the middle. Okay, and then I might do the next line, which is sort of turning in a little bit. And then the next one, it sort of stops about halfway. So just focus on each individual little piece. Don't worry about what else is there. Don't worry about the other squares. Just focus on the individual square. Now, with mine, some of the edges aren't quite clear on my picture. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to draw on my picture just to make sure that I can see where the actual where the edge is. So I'm just going to sharpen up some of those lines so that makes it easier to copy. Wow, I got a big chin. I never noticed that before. All right, so where was I? 14I, and this is where the grid lines come in. And that goes down to there. And what you can do is you can just mark the little pieces, the edges. You can go, okay, it's going to end up there and it's got to start there, and then you can just join them like a dot to dot. And then that to there. So that finishes up about there. Oh, we lost one of our people. Maybe it was too hard. Okay, where did I get to? M15. Oh, I messed up. I missed a whole square. Oh dear. Where'd my rubber go? Okay, 14. Yep. And so that should go like that. H. I. And then that needs to go down to there. That's what I missed, that bit. Next one across. And what am I on? I-15. And then if you get a bit tired of doing that bit, you can jump up and do another section. So we go 13H. And it's just like a jigsaw puzzle. Goes into the corner. And you can even cross them off if you decide, okay, yep, I've done that bit and I've done that one. So the piece underneath goes straight down. And then across. Okay, so I've done that piece. Okay, 15H. especially when you're doing a really, really big one like this. You can lose track of where you are. So has anybody got hair on their picture? Hair is a really, really hard bit to do. So instead of you drawing and me drawing and we don't do anything and we don't learn anything, we'll go up to the hair section and I'll show you a couple of tricks as to how to do it, because it takes a little bit of practice. So with me, I'm going to start with the eyebrows because I've got quite hairy eyebrows. So we're going to go on mine, 7K. All right, so 7K. And I'm going to very lightly draw where the outline of the eyebrow is. But nobody really has sharp edges on their eyebrows. All right, so we're just going to use that as a little bit of a guide. All right, then what you do is you hold your pencil like sideways, okay? And it helps if you've got a nice good sharp point on it. And then you kind of like do little ticks. Oh, and you can, don't worry if you mess it up, you can go over. So it's like lots of little ticks. So it looks a bit more like hair. I might get rid of that. I'll pluck that eyebrow. So it looks more like hair. And then if I go up to the top where I've actually, see, around the ear, do the around the ear bit. I've got 08, 08, 7 is 8. Okay, so I'll do my ear. And then again, I'll very, very lightly just put an outline of where the hair is. But nobody's hair finishes real sharply like that. Okay, I'll put an outline on the outside bit. And then grab your pencil sideways again, and you can do just your soft edging little ticks around, and then same on the other end, because nobody has very sharp edges to their hair. And it takes a bit of practice to get it right. And that's why we work in pencil. And it doesn't have to be exact. because it's not a photo. Where did we get up to? 10p. And 11. And then I've got a couple of extra little pieces of hair sticking out around the sides. Okay, now I'll teach you another little trick before I go. Like inside my ear, there's a bit of shadow. So if you, again, grab your pencil on its side, very, very lightly colour it in. Okay. Then grab your little finger and rub it. And see how it goes all smudgy? And you can clean up around the edge with your rubber just to sharpen up that edge. I don't actually have a clean rubber. And be careful after you've done your rubbing, because you do end up with pencil all over your fingers. So be careful what you touch. But that works good for the hair as well. You can blend it all in, and that way you don't see those really sharp lines. So, and you can do the same with you. I like to use the little finger most, because then I'm less likely to touch something and put grubby pencil marks everywhere, especially on my face. All right, so you can see my drawing is starting to take shape. Is everybody else's drawing starting to take shape? Oh, very nice, very nice. Okay, so that is probably going to take you ages and ages and ages to do, but you've got the idea of how to do it. And when you're finished, you can go through with your soft rubber and very lightly take out your extra lines, or you can go over it with pen and use colour it in with lots of pen, and that'll make it easier. Or you can choose to do an easier picture now that you know what you're doing, and maybe you picked a difficult picture to do. So remember, one of the easy, if you're going to do this lots and pick lots of pictures, then I would suggest getting a plastic envelope and drawing your grid on that. And that way you just have to slip your photo inside, and that saves you a lot of time. Okay. All right, so have fun today. Sorry about the mess up in the middle with the nearly running out of time, and hope you all enjoy your drawing. I'm going to go and make myself a cup of tea and finish doing my drawing and see if I can make it look a little bit more like me and less like a weird man. Okay. Bye, everyone.